Number three, I have just a brief case study to go through, and this is really around your fiduciary responsibility for your 401k. So obviously, we now know you are required in the state of California, if you have over 5 employees, to have a sponsored corporate retirement plan. And if you can opt out and use the Cal Savers program, but for many of you, that's not a great plan. So you opt into some level of plan. Usually, it's a 401k. So a few things that we're seeing a lot of is the fact that, especially for well-established plans, that their fees are not aligned. We've been living through the last 5 years where technology is allowing all your service providers to be more efficient and to reduce fees. That includes, when you think about a traditional 401k, is you have your record keeper. And if you look on my screen here in the bottom right, Fidelity is the record keeper on this example. So this was just an example of a construction company we work with. They have about 13 million in plan assets, over 100 employees, and Fidelity was a record keeper. So you have a record keeper and they charge fees to manage the plan. You also have the underlying investments. You have an advisor that's involved, a third-party administrator. So there's a lot of components to managing a 401k. And one of the things that we're finding is that the employer, the business owner, sometimes it's the HR, depending on the size, they are not doing adequate benchmarking of their plan on a regular basis. For us, a regular basis means at least every 3 years to ensure that their plan is charging appropriate fees. And the hard thing with appropriate fees, well, what's appropriate, right? And so if you're not benchmarking, you don't know. And so this was a good example of a plan where we went in, we did a full benchmark, and there was 3 key areas that we identified. The business owner and their board of directors and their investment committee, they didn't want to handle a lot of the fiduciary responsibilities. So we decided, hey, let's outsource this to Fidelity using a 316 fiduciary service. So they were super pleased by that because we were able to handle a lot of the day-to-day plan operations and kind of the check the box type of compliance. It only added 0.04% to the expense ratio of the plan. We did a full investment menu overhaul to make sure they had appropriate investments for their employees. That had a dramatic cost savings from 0.41% down to 0.15%, so big savings there. And then we negotiated with Fidelity to actually, we wanted to keep the plan at Fidelity, so we negotiated to bring their fees down. And that's one of the things that we find in this space too often. If you're not asking the questions as your plan assets grow, because you have employees adding money every year, more, 75% of the time markets are going up, your plan assets are growing. So oftentimes, if you're not benchmarking, you're getting priced like you were a smaller plan. And so it's incumbent upon you as the owner, as the fiduciary, to do this. Now, for us, we act in this role. We act as a fiduciary in conjunction with our clients. But again, every time we get in this opportunity, and we kind of lick our chops around, okay, we have a great opportunity because no one's doing this work. And I say no one, maybe that's a little harsh, but not enough people are. This is an easy thing to bring in a company like ours to just do it for you. We don't charge, and we can give you a full report. And at least you might make a decision, hey, I should change from my current advisor, or at least you have now a document you can go back to them that will help to advocate to drive costs down. So in this plan example, this was an actual outcome. We can't guarantee this is going to happen every time, but basically, because of the size of the plan fees were reduced from about 1% to just under 0.7. So we saved on an annual basis at current plan size over $38,000 per year. And that's spread out among some company savings as well as participant savings. But again, this is a requirement when you are managing a 401k. The Department of Labor, you're starting to see many more lawsuits pop up because of these issues. And so what we see in employment law everywhere is that anytime the employee is being harmed or deemed to be harmed, you have to then justify how you have your plan set up and make sure you have, again, appropriate investments and appropriate fees. And so I don't know if you had any questions on that, Brian, or if that all makes sense. I don't know if you're seeing that in any of the work you're doing, but this is definitely an area that we think that for this year, if you haven't focused on it, let's do it because it's going to save some real money for your company.